I think Izzy does remind me a little bit of a young Eddie starting out.
This is Jonathan Agger, fifth Pro Boxing Fans, joined by GBM CEO Izzy Asif and Head of Broadcasting at GBM Sports, Adam Smith. Guys, how we doing?
Yeah, good.
Very good, thank you.
Good. So we got a show April 20th coming up in Rotherham. Izzy, tell us first of all a bit about it. I know you've got a heavyweight debuting. You've got Shaquille Thompson and of course Hughie Fury.
Yeah, Shaquille Thompson's topping the card. He's going to be fighting for the IBF European middleweight title and the WBO. You know, we promised him one belt. We said we'll guarantee get you a title fight. We've delivered two, which is nice. We've got Nicola Hopewell fighting Gemma Rouge for the flyweight Commonwealth title. It's another big fight. Then the list goes on. We've got, like you said, Arlo Stevens making his debut. A chap called Taz Nadeem, who I'm so excited for, which is like, issue we have with cars like this is the names like Taz Nadeem kind of get brushed aside because there's so many big names on the card. But he was number 3 in the world at CrossFit.
It's a CrossFit.
CrossFit World, you know, one of the best in the world.
Story.
Great story. And he's really strong, really. They come from the Afghanistan background. You know, I think he fled the war and that kind of stuff. He's got a great story behind him. Then we've got Harvey Lambert, a GB member. We've got Tieran Malloy, Tiernan Bradley. We've got Hughie Fury, not forgetting the Hughie Fury cut on the card. It just gone. We've got Naphtali, Red Johnson, Nicola Hopewell versus Gemma Rouge, you mentioned. The list goes on, but obviously it's Shaquille Thompson's homecoming. He's going to be it's his big night to get that ranking in the IBF. We've got Hughie Fury making his comeback. We've got the debutants, and I think what I like about this kind of card is where you got people who making a GBM debut, like your Harvey Lambert, like your Tiernan Bradley and Kieran Malloy. They're going to want to really impress us as an outfit and the people out there. So it's a great card. It really is. It's one of the best. I hear a lot at the moment. It's one of the best non-big TV cards people have seen for a long time, and that excites me as a promoter. So I'm really looking forward to.
Adam, how excited are you for the card?
I'm really excited, first of all, to be working with Izzy at GBM Sports. It's I would say it's a sort of dream come true. I've always wanted to go into the promotional side, having been on the broadcasting area or world for so long, having worked with so many of the great promoters as well, you know, in America with your Arams and Kings, to here with your Hearns and Warrens and Shaloms and Sauerlands and everybody, the Maloney's, everybody that sort of I've worked with over the years. And I've always wanted to sort of see what it's like the other side. I suppose I did. I got very close to Eddie at Matchroom. We worked almost like a double act or a triple with Frank Smith as well. I think, you know, it was really important that we worked very closely together over those years of sort of rebuilding boxing into those arenas, big arenas and stadiums with the likes of AJ and Froch Grove and all of that. But now I need a new challenge, and to come aboard a great outfit like GBM Sports, which is new, but it's had an amazing start. I liked Izzy as soon as I met him. He said, "You've got to come to one of my shows." And then just a few months ago or a little time ago, I was in Sheffield for a Johnny Nelson MBE dinner, and it was my first sort of my first event back after my cancer survival and my recovery. And Izzy came up to me and said, "Do you fancy commentating on my show?" And I said, "Well, that's really kind of you to ask me." So I took him up on it, and I went along, and it was the one in Sheffield that was fantastic, and Shaq Thompson was on. There were terrific fights, and I absolutely loved it. The production was really high quality. The fans didn't leave their seats from start to finish. It wasn't sort of empty seats. Everyone wanted to be there for the whole night, and everyone went home happy. So I went again in Coventry, which was as good, if not better. And you know, we had some great stories. Niall Berry, who's just been signed up, and a fantastic night. But you know, Bradley Great and Danny Quarantine as well from Leamington. So you know, it was brilliant, Coventry, and I just thought, hey, it's a new challenge. I've worked with some of the best and biggest promoters, and I think Izzy has got all the ingredients, the tools, the charisma, the passion, the skills, the belief, the authenticity to get to the top. He wants to do it. He was a former fighter. He knows what fighters want and need. He's a businessman, so he knows, you know, that he can bring his smarts in when he needs. And he's built a great team, a youthful team, a passionate team, a creative team. And he's brought Al Siesta in, who knows boxing inside and out. And now he's asked me to come aboard, and hopefully I can provide some knowledge on not just the media and broadcasting side, but also on the development of the fighters, the young sportsmen and women that I want to help out in my sort of new journey, my new career. And I'm just delighted to be alongside Izzy. I'm very, very excited for April the 20th. I think Shaq Thompson is one of the, well, he's not even a secret anymore, but he's certainly one of the best middleweights in the country. And I think he could go even further. He's dangerous. He's a southpaw. He's tall. He's awkward. He hits hard. This is his showcase. And what a card as well on to pluck the names of Hughie Fury out. And Hughie's been, absent for so long, recovering from illness. It'd be great to see him back. He's only 29. I mean, can you believe it? That, he's fought for world titles and he almost had his career back to front. But let's see what Hughie's got. And a great card. And the Irish double act, I'm so excited about. I mean, Izzy knows I'm a massive, massive fan of both of them, especially I think Kieran Malloy, the Galway lad. He's just, I saw his professional debut, and I think that he's an absolute gem. I don't know how you've got hold of him, Izzy, but well done. I think there's some fantastic fighters that have been signed up. There's more that are coming, and I think this card is packed and stacked from top to bottom, and there's something for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Izzy, this week a lot of the talk in boxing has been about the Dalton Smith and Adam Azim and whether promoters are going to work together on that and stuff like that. Is it your plan just to sort of establish your guys first before you maybe look to work with, Eddie, Ben and Frank and Calla and everyone like that? Or would you be willing to work with them straight away?
Listen, willing to work with them straight away. Recently we had Reece Moore fighting Gary Cully on the Eddie show. I'm in touch with Frank Smith regular. I'm in touch with Ben Shalom and Calais. You've got a good relationship with George. There's not an issue whatsoever for me. I'd work with anybody tomorrow if the deal's right. What it is as a promoter, you've got a duty and care and a legal and a moral obligation to do what's right for the fighters. So it's all about the fighters and giving them the opportunity. If I got a phone call tomorrow morning from Eddie or anybody or Frank or Ben to say we want a certain fighter on, and if it suited us,
you've got to look at it.
And if it's a right for the fighters financially, opportunity-wise, timing-wise, we do it. There's no barriers in me whatsoever to work with anybody across the world, across the country, wherever it is. It doesn't make a difference. I don't really hold a personal grudge, and if I did, it's unfair on the fighters because you see what happens a lot. Fighters don't fight certain fights. The fans don't get to see certain fights. And a lot of that's due to broadcasting kind of issues and obligations you got, which I get and I understand. But then sometimes it does get where egos and sometimes personalities can clash. And I'm hoping that, and I know some of it's fun and games, a bit of tongue-in-cheek kind of stuff. I'm just hoping that doesn't ever come across with me, and I could just be one of them promoters that's easy to work with. Let's make the deal done if it's right for us. But at the same time, if it's not right for us, whether that's financially or whether it's not the right timing for our fighters, we're not in no desperate need as a promoter. We do what's right for us. I've got people like Adam Smith, Al Siesta, Steve Lillis. These three guys are probably there's not much in boxing these guys don't know. And I've got the youth to know for the creativity, the media stuff, and a lot of things that happen behind the scene. And we do what's right for us, and working with promoters, not a problem whatsoever. In future, I believe we'll be one of the best outfits in the country, and there'll be regular works with other promoters, other outfits, other platforms, and I'm looking forward to that.
And is Hughie Fury on a one-fight deal at the moment, or?
Listen, at the moment it's a one-fight deal. He's obviously got obligations to other outfits and promotion at the moment, which is not a problem whatsoever. But one fight, listen, who knows? With GBM, would it surprise you? Nothing to surprise me if one fight at the moment, but I think he's going to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy having him on. He's a great name. His father, Peter's a great friend of mine. I've got 15, 20 years of history of friendship with Peter, well before when I was boxing amateur, in the early 2000s. And Peter's a good friend of mine. And they're one fight at the moment, but let's see. Who knows? Listen, anything's possible. I don't know what's going to happen, Jonathan. So let's just let it roll.
The unpredictability of the sport, Jonathan, isn't it? And I think what I like about Izzy is that he's not into. He will work with the other promoters when the time's right, and I don't think he's into just slagging them off or getting involved in the war of words. I think he just wants to concentrate on his product, on his business, on GBM Sports, and we're seeing how the fighters are now coming and the youngsters are signing up, and there's alternatives. And it's a very attractive alternative. It's a very exciting one, and I'm sure at the shows and the fans that have been to the GBM shows, and remember there haven't been that many yet. They've all had a great time. So I say to Izzy, let's make the next one better, and the one after that better. And any mistakes, we sit around and we learn, we communicate, we talk about them, and we go again, because there's going to be many mistakes that are made. This is a difficult business. It's a hard road, but I think that the tools and the structure are there to give it a massive crack. And I think that GBM will be going right to the top.
Just on Huey, you mentioned he's only 29, which seems crazy because he's so much experience. Where is his ceiling? Like, is he maybe within a few fights, looking at those big names, looking at a Joshua fight that he's always been very confident of beating?
Yeah, is that to me, Jonathan?
We can both go for that.
Yeah, sure.
You go first, Izzy.
Yeah, listen, obviously that's what he wants. He's in this game for reaching heights. If you know Peter and Huey, I know what I know of them. They're not in this just for the financial gains. Yeah, everybody wants the money, and let's be real, money plays a big part of it. But for me, he wants to make sure he fulfills his potential. And yeah, that's what he'd want. Listen, the heavyweight division's so unpredictable right now. Like, you could have a couple of wins, and then it could be a massive fight out there. As you've seen, even with Fabio Wardley, he's had a good run of wins, but relatively unknown, white collar background, or was it not? No amateur fights. And look how well he's done. Look how many big fights he's on, big paychecks, and that's what it is with this one. Huey knows. Peter knows.
Look at Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets stopped by Joe Joyce, and look at him. He's conquering the world, and it's fantastic to see. And it just shows you knuckle down, and the heavyweights can. There's a pot of them, aren't there? There's a massive mix, and what's happening in Saudi is brilliant for the big guys. It's fantastic, and Huey wants to be part of that. He's like the lost guy, isn't he? He's not been around. I remember when he came back to Sky and Boxer, and we had him, I think, beating the likes of Marius Vach and Christian Hammer, I think, was another one in Newcastle, and then he just sort of went missing, and it was illness, and then there was Michael Hunter fight was talked about, and then I think it's long COVID and an illness that's kept him out for a long time now. And as you said, he's only 29, so will he fulfill that potential? His career's been a bit backwards. He's had the big fights almost early on, or maybe too early, but it's not too late, because he's got plenty of time. And if he's fit and firing, and it's a big if, we don't know what he's going to be like after all this time out. He's got to prove, to himself and his dad more than anybody that he wants it, and he's got it. But I think he does, and I think he will want to get back in that mix. And as Izzy says, you're only 2 or 3 wins away at heavyweight to get back into that.
What I will say, Jonathan, what I know of Peter personally, he's probably one of the most straightforward talking guys in British boxing. And if he doesn't believe his son's going to go to a certain level, he'll pull him and just tell him straight. There's no, kidding him. There's no like kind of sweetening him up and playing a nice guy. He's a straight talking fella. He understands boxing. Obviously, the history he's had with Tyson, how far he's got him. And Peter's got the great kind of mentor with him. So if Hughie Fury's not up to that level, his father will let him know. And Pete's I feel like one of the most straightforward talking and most respected. One I respect immensely in British boxing. He's been good to me, and I've learned a lot from him as well. So it's good to have them on the card. They're excited as well, which excites me.
And the question marks are out with Hughie Fury, which is another reason you can't miss this show, because we don't know what we're going to see with Hughie. And I think that's been an issue over the years for him, because he was brilliant at times, and Parker, Povetkin, going to Bulgaria as well with Pulev, and then sometimes he doesn't really turn up, and you worry, and then he does brilliantly. He's a bit up and down, and now he's been sort of lost in the wilderness. We can't wait to see what he's got, and he's not even 30 yet, so it'll be very interesting, and he's a great addition to the card.
Do you have his opponent confirmed for the 20th yet?
His opponent, there's talks of an opponent, but I don't know if it's 100% confirmed. So I don't want to give. There was an opponent lined up, and then it's like with these opponents, sometimes medical issues and whatnot. But he'll be announced. I think within next 24 hours of a confirmation, his opponent will be confirmed. It'll be somebody that is going to be a proper test for him, and he's going to be on his game. If not, it takes one punch at heavyweight boxing, and everybody knows how dangerous it could be this game. So he'll be on it, but it'll be confirmed in the next 24 hours. His opponent. We had somebody lined up. It pulled out, medical reasons he couldn't get through, but it'll be announced in the next 24 hours.
This is boxing, is he?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you line up. The crazy thing, you line a card up. You think you're going to fight, and then something happens, medical issues. They've boxed someone else and been injured, and I suppose it's what I've signed up for. and I've got to be prepared for these kind of things. So yeah.
Final one, Adam, you said to me, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, that Izzy kind of reminds you of when Eddie was coming onto the scene. So how does he compare to Eddie, Ben, Calla, Frank, etc.?
Got a few more greys than Eddie, I think.
Yeah. It's a really good question. Izzy's his own man, and every one of the guys that you've mentioned has their own positive attributes, success stories. I got a good relationship with all of them, with Eddie, with Calla and Nisse, with Frank and George, with Ben. I get on with them all great, and it's been fun working with them all on the broadcasting side. But now I've sort of jumped over to the promotional side. I can work closely and really see sort of how it all functions, you know. And let's not forget we call them the backroom staff. They're just not on the camera. They do huge amounts of work, and I've been really impressed with the creativity already of the socials of GBM and the work that goes into the storytelling and the pre-planning and the production and everything that goes, you know, towards making it look fantastic, because it's hard work. But I don't know, going back to that, I think Izzy does remind me a little bit of a young Eddie starting out. I think Eddie had a real point to prove with his dad, and also he always loved boxing. He'd grown up around it, but he'd done a bit of the golf with Matchroom and a bit of the poker, and he's not into darts or snooker. So I think boxing was his thing, and yeah, there was the passion, and there was that challenge, I guess, of taking it from leisure centres into arenas and then into stadiums. And I see with Izzy, I see that same infectious sort of charisma, that want to make it work. You know, he was a fighter himself. You know, he knows what it's like the other side. He's been in and around the sport for a long time in a different way to Eddie. But yeah, that charisma, the fact that they can both work without a script, it comes from the heart, and they're sharp. You know, they're very sharp. And yeah, so I've seen a lot of similarities. But Izzy's his own guy. Eddie still goes from strength to strength. He's all around the world. Vegas last week, Manchester this week, and yeah, I'm sure that's Izzy's dream. At the moment, it's Sheffield, and it's all systems go on April the 20th. Then we're looking at London, the Midlands, Ireland. We're looking at other areas to go around. And I said to him, it's, you know, only as good as your last show. Next one's got to be better. Got to learn from that and go again. We've got to get the right fighters, not too many. It's the ensemble. Make sure we look after them properly, make sure that they're developed in the right ways. There's lots of things, and there's things I've learned from working alongside Eddie and Frank and Ben and everybody, to, you know, Calla and Nisse and everyone in the business, that I hopefully can help, you know, steer and guide Izzy with. But as a man on his own, I really like him. I really like being around him. He's got that passion. He's got that drive. He's got the non-stop 24/7 sort of mentality that, you know, you need in this business, that certainly Eddie and Frank and George and all of them have, and Ben. It's difficult. It's a tough gig being a promoter. I'm not one. I can just advise. I can just help out. He's the one that, you know, his neck's on the line, and I think he's big enough, strong enough, tough enough, and I think he's had enough experience in business to be able to deal with what's coming. But it's going to be an exciting ride.
Yeah,
and
looking forward to it.
yeah, Izzy's Izzy. But yeah, there are some similarities to the early Eddie, definitely.
Well, brilliant. April 20th in Rotherham, live on talkSPORT YouTube channel, I believe. So yeah, tune in, and we look forward to a good show, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Cheers.